ever wondered why one man goes bald and the other one doesn't? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragushi, a naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode, you're going to learn exactly what makes guys bald and what they can do naturally to assist them with their baldness. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a success and health-oriented community by joining the Natural Health newsletter by clicking the link below. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast. We bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's question. All questions are kept confidential and I read them and answer them as if it was me, hence why it's called What Would I Do? The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I'm not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate and inform you so you're able to take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues with your healthcare professional or any changes that you're doing. Now that's out of the way, let's get into today's question. Absolutely excited. I love this question that came in, and the question says, I'm a 30-year-old male and I'm going bald. I have lost some hair on my hairline and also crown. What can I do now to reduce losing more hair or even growing the current one back? This is amazing. Thank you so much for writing in. Really, really appreciate it. Androgenic alopecia is male pattern hair loss that occurs specifically in areas of the scalp, most notably at the hairline and at the crown. This is kind of like what you're talking about. The interesting thing is that one cause of male pattern baldness is genetic, right? Or having a family history of baldness. Researchers have found that male pattern baldness is associated with male sex hormones called androgen, and androgens have many functions, including regulating hair growth. And I can just imagine for men, it would be a big shock from having a full head of hair and then going back and not having that much hair or losing that hair. And it's that one time that you look at that photo and go, wow, my gosh, is that what my crown looks like? Or you go, wow, look at the difference. Paul, I didn't even notice that. Or washing your hand and being like, oh, I can feel my scalp, right? It's probably not the most exciting thing for a man to realize, but hey, there are so many things that you can do. So let's go into it. But I'm going to first let you understand about hair, right? So each hair on your head has a growth cycle. With male pattern baldness, this growth cycle begins to weaken and the hair follicles shrink, producing shorter and finer strands of hair. And eventually this ends, right? So there's no new hair growing in it. But genetic actually plays a huge role. Men who have close relatives with male pattern baldness are at higher risk, particularly true when their relatives are on the female side of the family. So if your mum's side of your family, think about it. Your mum's dad, your mum's brother, are they going bald? Maybe that might be genetic, right? So essentially, it simply comes down to two things. One is your genetic makeup. Think about it. People in your family going bald, and the other one is chemical imbalance. What does that mean, chemical imbalance, right? If your levels of hormone DHT are totally out of whack, yes, DHT, what's DHT? I'll go into that. And you have bald men in your family, baldness is coming your way. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but hey, we've got things to do and I'm going to go through them. So essentially, DHT is dihydrotestosterone. If you really want to get technical, it is to develop and maintain the sexual characteristics of a man. It really kicks in puberty and gives you that absolutely amazing facial and body hair that starts to appear. That's what DHT is responsible for. It helps grow hair on some parts of the body. The same hormone is responsible for hair loss on the top of your head. So the hormone that makes your beard grow and hair all over your body makes you go bald. That is why a lot of bald men are really hairy. It's so funny. You can comb their beard or even their back, how hairy they are, but they got no hair on their head. So essentially, DHT is derived of testosterone hormone, and an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase is responsible for the conversion of testosterone to DHT molecules. So you have all of these testosterone, but then this enzyme called 5-alpha reductase is the one that determines if it's going to move into DHT, right? In various tissues like your prostate gland, liver, brain, skin, and hair follicles. So DHT is crucial for development of male biological characteristics like facial hair, muscles, deep voice in adult men. But when produced in excess, this DHT molecule binds to your hair follicle receptors, blocking the blood supply to your follicles cells. This prevents the derma publica from receiving essential nutrients for hair growth, resulting in stop stop hair growth. That's what it results into. So essentially, it's that testosterone is getting converted into DHT too fast or too much, right? So we need to go into, that's where you need to understand that. Why is that happening? Now that you understand DHT role, you'll be able to understand that the way to prevent or slow down hair loss is to block DHT, right? You have two main options. You block DHT at the source or increase blood flow to the hair follicles. I know it's going to seem like a little bit so essentially it's going to, there's a lot of things happening and hair loss may not seem as exciting, but the one thing that I wanted to put in here is that in the men who are bald has actually been proven in studies that they are seen as considered more intelligent, more attractive, more trustworthy, and actually more socially adaptable, which is quite interesting. So it's kind of like, it's a phase that men go through, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm going through this phase in my life and I'm accepting it, right? Or you can go through, I'm not accepting it and I want to do something about it. So whatever, if it's an issue of confidence, if it's an issue of you don't like the shape of your skull and so forth, there are some things that you can do. But the first few questions that I want to ask you is, when did you start going bald? When did you notice these things, right? Has anyone in your family also gone bald? Is it something that's happening? Is it genetic? What happened around the time that you started going bald? And a stressful event, you lost someone, job change, career change, and so forth. Are you currently stressed? How often do you wash your hair? And do you have a shower filter in your shower? Are you ill? And what I mean by that is, do you have any diseases, or are you going through cancer treatment? Are you on any medications that can be causing this conversion to DHT to make it go faster, or even to stop the circulation on your head? Do you have diabetes, hypertension, thyroid issue, prostate cancer? Are you stressed? Are you malnourished? Do you exercise? Do you actually color your hair? Do you straighten your hair by using chemicals? What products do you actually use on your head? Do you currently have a scalp infection? Do you have bacterial infection or fungal infections? Do you smoke? What are your prolactin levels like? What are your testosterone levels like? What are your DHT levels like? That is a lot of questions right there. And what would I do? Okay, so clearly I am not a male, but if I was a male and if I was going bald, the thing that I would do first is first I would understand if I was okay with this. And what I meant by that is this okay? Do I see myself as going bald? Is this something that I'm comfortable with, in a sense of, am I comfortable with being more attractive, being more confident, being more trustworthy, as the studies say? And if I'm not comfortable with that, then there's things that I would do, right? I will look into what shampoos am I using. Do these shampoos have chemicals in them that are actually destroying my hair? Do I have a shower filter? I would have a shower filter, change the filter around. I would reduce my stress as much as possible. It's kind of like, hey, yoga can actually stop you from being bald. Yeah, it can. What foods am I actually intaking? Am I malnourished? I know I might have a belly on me or something along those lines, but I'm actually malnourished. That's the question. I would also check my iron levels. Am I smoking? Because if I'm smoking, that's definitely impacting it. I will test my DHT in my body to see the levels, and also testosterone levels and prolactin levels and so forth, right? Reduce stress by using yoga and so forth. So exercise has actually, slow and steady exercise like yoga or jogging will contribute to balancing DHT levels in the body. On the other side, studies claim that extreme exercise like bodybuilding will boost the production of DHT, as an overdoing of workouts will aggravate it. So it's kind of like, do you want to lift those weights and be bold, or do you want to have that hair and do a bit of yoga? Your choice, right? I put on some hair masks that are highly beneficial, head massages to get that circulation to those hair follicles, reduce the inflammation. And what I mean by that is ensure that I'm not having high inflammatory foods, because that can cause inflammation and so forth. I would ensure that I don't have any infections on my head, any skin infections or skin diseases that I may have. Review the medications that I'm on, or even supplements that may be causing the testosterone to be converted to DHT faster. I would ensure that I have the current minerals and vitamins on point: iron, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin E, iron, selenium, zinc, magnesium, and omega-3s, and ensure that I eat foods high in that, because these are absolutely key for hair health. There are a number of herbs that block the enzyme that converts hormone testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, which can lead to androgenetic alopecia. And one of them is saw palmetto. Look into that. There are other ones also, and there's actual supplements that you can take that assist with that further, but I will talk to a herbalist or a naturopath that be able to assist you with that. And then at the end, there's the thing that you can also consider is hair transplant, and I guess that will be the last option. But I mean, if this is something that is crucial to you, crucial to me, that I would consider, that I would need to have hair on my head, that is maybe something that you can consider if that is something that aligns with what you want to do. Then the key is to be okay with going bald. It's okay with changes. It's kind of similar to women losing their menstrual cycle and going into menopause. This is kind of like a men's menopause, and it's okay that you're evolving and that you're changing. There's things happening in your life and you're making the most out of it. So I guess it depends where you want to go from there. But these are some of the questions and some of the things that I would do if I was a male and I was going bald. First, going to the doctor and getting those things tested to ensure that I'm actually not malnourished. But I hope that this sheds some light to your question, anyone who may be listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me and hopefully I'll be able to answer your question on the Natural Health Podcast. And if you want more information like this, specials, bonuses, guests, details, and so forth, join the Natural Health newsletter and you will get all of this into your inbox every Friday. There you have it. Remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Health Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Health Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting a doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in educational content.